The story begins with a group of explorers who were in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean. There was a weather officer named David on that ship who tells the state of the weather. Those people were going towards an island which was present in the middle of the sea. The government had sent David there so that he could observe the changing weather of that island. David had to stay there for about a year to collect the weather data. After collecting the weather data for the whole year, he had to come back. David was given food for the whole year and all the necessary things. After a long journey, they finally reached the island. They landed on the island with the help of a boat. This island was completely deserted, where even a bird could not be seen. There was a lighthouse and a small house on that island where David had to stay because a weather officer named Robert used to live here before this, but now his duty was over. He stayed alone on that island for a year and collected the weather data. Now, instead of him, David will stay here to collect the weather data for the whole year, and that old officer will go back with Robert's ship. But when the whole team visited the house, they were surprised because there was no sign of any person there. All the stuff of the old officer in the room was scattered here and there, after which the captain and David thought that maybe there could be someone in the lighthouse. The captain and David go to the lighthouse without wasting time, and they see a strange sight there. They see that the whole lighthouse was surrounded by sharp and pointed sticks, as if someone had deliberately closed it so that no one could go inside. After which, the captain and David knocked on the lighthouse gate many times but got no response from inside. Finally, they pushed the gate hard and went inside. They found a man inside the lighthouse whose name was Gruner. When they asked Gruner about the old weather officer Robert, he replied that he is dead. He went towards the sea but never came back. Hearing Gruner's words, David and the captain were shocked. After hearing all this, the captain told David that if you still want, you can come back with us. But David refused to go back. David thought that if he could give the government an accurate weather report of that island, then he could get a lot of money. After which, the captain gave him a gun for his own protection, and the captain told David that I don't see this place safe. Take care of yourself. After this, they left him there and went back, and now they will come back again after a year. After the captain left, David settled the house a little and made it livable. After nightfall, he found a diary in the drawer, which was of the old weather officer Robert. In that diary, a lot was written about the island. In the diary, some things were written about a mysterious creature, but everything was not clear. Some things were incomplete. David read every line carefully. In that diary, some strange animal sketches were also made. David did not understand why he had made such pictures. Maybe he was alone, and he must have done this for time pass. There was also a photo of the old officer's wife on a page of the diary. David got tired of reading that diary, and slowly his eyes got stuck. The next morning, David started collecting the weather data, but as soon as he reached the sea, his feet stopped. He saw that some stones were strangely decorated between the rocks, and there were shells between them, in a strange pattern. David thought maybe Gruner has done all this. He thought about it and started his work again. During work, when he looked at the lighthouse from the binoculars, he saw another person with Gruner, but as soon as he blinked, he disappeared. David tried to see him again, but then he thought it was his illusion. At night, David was busy with his work. Then he knocked on the door. He thought maybe this is Gruner. David called his name but got no answer. As soon as David took the lamp in his hand and walked towards the door, he heard some strange voices in his ears that were not of any human being. Then he saw a strange creature trying to come inside from under the gate. It was not a human hand at all. Seeing this, the ground creaked under David's feet. He immediately ran to the basement and hid there. In a while, that mysterious creature had entered the house. She was secretly looking for David, and David started looking at her from a small crack in the basement. The creature saw David with David's tremor, after which the creature quickly ran towards David to kill him and tried to catch him from the crack. To save himself, David immediately picked up a knife and stabbed him in the eye. The creature screamed and ran away, but she could come back any time, and it was confirmed in David's mind that the creature in the diary was true. Out of fear, he could not sleep the whole night. The next morning, when David went out of the house, he saw some footprints on the sand that were not of any human being. Those marks went straight to the sea and were gone. Now David understood everything why Gruner had put pointed sticks all around the lighthouse. Now David knew that if I stay in this house, that creature can kill me any time. Out of fear, David runs towards the lighthouse and shouts to Gruner, "Open the gate! I have to come inside." But Gruner does not let him come inside and says, "You should have gone back with the ship." David returns disappointed because Gruner did not even want to see him near the lighthouse. He pours water on him and tells him to go away. Now he has to do something himself. He closed every window of the house with wood, surrounded it with pointed sticks all around, and put old papers and books outside the gate. Then he sprayed oil on them so that if that creature came back, he could be scared of fire and run away. But there was one thing that David did not know, and he was going to find out tonight. Fortunately, he found an old box inside the house. There was a gun in that box and a lot of bullets. Seeing this, he got a little hope of staying alive. As the sun began to set, fear began to grow in David's heart. In a short while, darkness spread all over the house. David was sitting quietly in a corner of the house. His heart was beating fast. Then a strange voice was heard, and when David hid from the window and looked towards the sea, it was as if the ground creaked. He saw that not just one, but many of the strange creatures in the water were moving towards him. In a short while, they all gathered and tried to break the door of the room. David immediately started shooting bullets, some of which fell and died. David thought that after hearing the sound of the bullet, he would be scared and run away. But seeing his companions dying, he got even more angry. Then David sets fire to the papers and old books outside the gate. Seeing the fire, the creatures returned to the sea in fear. But now the same fire had reached David's house. The door of the house caught fire and began to spread slowly, because the whole house was made of wood. David immediately wrapped himself in a sheet and saved his life, and came out and hid behind a big stone near the lighthouse. While shooting the creatures, David had a very deep wound in his hand. Then suddenly it started raining heavily. The fire began to die down slowly. But despite the rain all night, David could not save his house until morning. The whole house was burnt to ashes. Now, if David wants to stay alive, he will have to take shelter in the lighthouse. He picked up his rifle and hid among the stones near the lighthouse and waited for Gruner to come to fill water. When Gruner came out of the lighthouse to fill water, David followed him. But then suddenly a strange creature which was near Gruner attacked David. But somehow David controlled it. That creature was Gruner's protector. When he was going to shoot it, Gruner immediately stopped David and said, "Stop, this is my pet." David did not shoot, and taking advantage of the opportunity, he made a condition with Gruner. "If you want to keep this creature alive, then let me stay in the lighthouse. Otherwise, I will kill it." After which, Gruner said yes, because David had a lot of food and gunpowder. Before evening, both returned to the lighthouse with the remaining food, and both slept peacefully. The next morning, the creature was quietly licking David's hand. When David woke up from his sleep, he saw that his hand was completely healed by licking this creature. David was surprised to see all this. David now wanted to know more about this creature from Gruner, and then he wanted to bring all this to the world because it was no less than magic. David thought that if we bring the secret of this creature to the world, then David and Gruner will both earn a lot of money and fame. But Gruner did not want all this. He did not want to go anywhere from this island. Gruner had no one left in this world. For him, this island was perfect, where he considered himself a king and the owner of his will. That's why he wrote in many parts of the island that Gruner is the king here. But David could not understand how this strange creature became useless to Gruner. So Gruner told him that once Gruner had saved his life, he accidentally got stuck in his fishing net. Then this creature was small, and since that day, he stayed with Gruner. Gruner started to listen to everything he said, but Gruner was a strict man. He behaved very badly with this creature. Gruner had a physical relationship with this creature every day. Gruner told him that once this creature had attacked me, and in return, Gruner gave him such a punishment that after that punishment, that creature began to consider itself a slave of Gruner. And you all must have understood why those creatures come out of the sea every night. They all come so that they get rid of Gruner and take him back. But Gruner does not let this happen. Those creatures cannot attack in the daylight because the light of the sun burns their skin. David did not want to stay here anymore. He somehow wanted to get rid of the island. Anyway, it was evening, and Gruner told him to get ready with a gun because those creatures can attack at any time. They got ready to turn on the light of the lighthouse, and in a little while, a large number of creatures came out of the sea. They were moving towards the lighthouse. Gruner was constantly firing at them, but David was completely scared. He started coming towards the lighthouse. Despite Gruner's repeated words, he just sat quietly in a corner, and in a little while David fainted. Gruner fought these creatures all night alone. The next morning, Gruner put water on David's face in anger and picked him up and said, "If you want to stay alive, you will have to take their life. Otherwise, you will be thrown out of the lighthouse, and you will have to listen to me every day." Filling water every day, doing small and big work of the lighthouse, and doing guard duty with me at night. Now David had no other option. That's why doing all this became his compulsion. David now started listening to everything Gruner said, but there was one thing he didn't like at all. It was to physically torture that female creature in different ways every day. It's night. Both of them get ready for guard duty again, and once again, those creatures come out of the sea. But today, David was not afraid. He started firing at the creature, but today, Gruner was not doing anything. He leaves David outside and closes the gate of the lighthouse and sits inside quietly so that David can learn how to fight these creatures himself. In the same way, David spends the night fighting and it becomes morning. In the morning, Gruner saw that David was sitting outside the gate of the lighthouse in blood. Now he had learned how to fight these creatures. In the same way, time passed by fighting these creatures at night and taking care of the work of Gruner's lighthouse all day. This island had now become like a closed house for him. He kept thinking all the time that when he would leave this place and breathe freedom. With time, David's strange friendship with that female creature had become. David was now feeling bad for him. Now he realized how difficult it is to be alone, except for his people. Maybe that creature also felt the same way. David also gave that creature a name, Anarius. In the same way, the days passed by, and then one day, he saw that the attacks of these creatures were slowly decreasing. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new video.